There is a specific, sinking weight to the moment you realize you've made a mistake so large it feels irreversible. To explore how we process that kind of failure, Christians point to an ancient story about a wealthy landowner and his two sons. One day, the younger son demands his inheritance early. In that culture, asking for the money while his father is still healthy is a way of saying he wishes the man were already dead. Surprisingly, the father agrees. He liquidates his assets and hands over a massive fortune. The younger son travels to a distant country and burns through every cent on reckless partying and wild living. But the cash eventually runs dry, leaving him entirely destitute. Starving and desperate, he takes a job feeding pigs in a muddy field just to survive, the lowest point imaginable for a person of his background. How do you come back from a total, humiliating collapse? And why does this specific scenario sit at the foundation of the world's largest religion? The son eventually decides to return home, hoping his father might at least hire him as an unpaid servant so he won't starve. But the father's reaction is unexpected. Instead of anger, he runs down the road to embrace his son, offering immediate forgiveness and throwing a massive celebratory feast. To understand a reaction that defies standard logic, we have to look at the worldview of the person who told the story. This parable was shared by Jesus of Nazareth roughly 2,000 years ago. He taught that humans are created in God's image. This refers to internal traits, like the capacity for empathy, reasoning, and caring for others, rather than physical appearance. Yet, despite possessing these divine traits, humans remain inherently flawed and prone to massive failures, exactly like the runaway son. In this framework, the father represents God, a creator who recognizes severe human flaws but values his creations anyway. But this brings up a complexity. Christians believe Jesus is God, but the ancient texts also describe him praying to God. To resolve this, theologians point to a doctrine called the Holy Trinity. Consider an everyday analogy, like this woman. She is a teacher to her students, a mother to her children, and a sister to her siblings. She holds 3 distinct roles simultaneously without changing who she is. Similarly, the Trinity describes one God existing in 3 ways at once, as the Father who created the world, as the human form in Jesus the Son, and as the invisible force of the Holy Spirit. In this view, the narrator of the story is the Creator himself, using human language to explain his own nature. Which brings us back to the story, because there is one person who is absolutely furious about the party, the older brother. He stayed home. He worked the fields for years and followed every rule without receiving a single celebration. From his perspective, throwing a feast for the son who wasted half the family estate looks like a reward for bad behavior. The father's response to him serves as the definitive explanation of Christian grace. He tells the older son that his place in the family was never in doubt, but the younger brother was lost and is now found. The feast isn't a prize for good choices, it is a celebration of a rescue. This interaction translates a specific story into a broader theological framework. It suggests that because humans are made by God, they possess an inherent value that their actions cannot erase. In this belief system, even the most catastrophic failures do not permanently disqualify a person from belonging. It relies on the concept of radical grace, where forgiveness is available precisely when it is least deserved. The core of this system reaches past complex theology to a singular promise. Regardless of how far you fall, everyone is worthy of a second chance.